Greetings, and welcome to the 6th episode of our Mod of the Month series, where we take a look at the best mods released from Morrowind each month, as decided by you guys and our online polling. Today we're taking a look at the 3 highest rated mods from October, and this one was a really close poll. There was at one point a 5-way tie, but luckily the votes worked out in the end so that we had a top 3 mods to work with. As always, there's a new online poll up today where you can vote for the best mods of November, and I encourage you to go check that out and vote for your favourite mod. In any event, there were over 34 new mods from Morrowind released in October, and our mod of the month, as decided by you guys, is Vegtabill's Threads of the Webspinner by Vegtabill. Now this mod pretty much won by a landslide in our online polling, and what it does is fairly simple. It adds in new dialogue topics, journal entries, and books with hints as to where you can find the Threads of the Webspinner, the Sanguine objects that the Morag Tong Guildmaster, Ino once brought back to the Morag Tong. Now, originally, many of these objects were held by NPCs with no quests, or hints, or really any explanation that these NPCs had anything out of the ordinary on them. Now, this mod isn't going to point these NPCs out directly to you, it'll just provide some vague directions that you can pursue, and eventually get an NPC name and location, if you're persuasive enough, and talk to the right people. So it really just blends in quite well with the vanilla Morrowind's content, and pretty seamlessly integrates into the Morag Tong faction experience. So much so that I had difficulty recording this video because I've never actually played through the Morag Tong before and had a very hard time of telling between what was the vanilla content and what was added by this mod, which is actually a good thing, especially if you're a purist who wants a minimal amount of modded content in your game. But in any event, it's easy to see why this is our mod of the month. Vegtabill fixed something that was essentially broken in vanilla Morrowind, and he did it in the best way possible so that the new additions just feel like a natural extension of the vanilla content without any obvious "this is modded" signs. I highly recommend you check this mod out if you're a fan of the Morag Tong, or are just a completionist who wants to complete all the quests. And next up for our second choice for mod of the month, we have Tympany by Illuminiel, and this one was really fairly closely tied with Wonderwind, Lush Cascadian Isles, and a couple of other mods for a while before it came out on top as our number 2 in this month's video. And truth be told, it's probably one of the most, well, I guess you'd call it unique mods that I've ever seen for Morrowind. It starts out with a new animated movie at the start of a new game that's really fairly well done, with a bit of an interesting mixture of Fallout and Elder Scrolls artwork. And honestly, I kind of want a Dunmer Vault Boy bobblehead now. Bethesda better get on that and produce that in the Bethesda shop. But anyway, getting back on topic, what this mod does is essentially replace a large portion of the intro part of the game, and, well, it also changes the behavior of NPCs and makes it possible for you to essentially play through Morrowind as a pacifist, sort of. You'll also get to run into Jiub at various points in the game from now on, such as the Census and Excise offices and later on in Balmora, and the key element to this mod is a new questline called the Morag, and I don't know if I pronounced that correctly, which gives you some unique abilities as outlined in the firmament. And really this mod is just stock full of Illy's classical humor, with everything from the charge-in messages that pop up when you select items to the release form you get when you leave has been altered with Illy's particular brand of perhaps questionable humor. And this really gets to the sort of heart of the mod in that it's essentially and I really can't believe I'm saying this, a flatulence joke mod, if you will. Basically, your character, when you start the game, is essentially, well, someone with poor digestive skills, and one who releases a foul odor whenever they consume too many ingredients. This can work to your advantage with a well-timed consumption of ingredients. Your enemies will flee in fear of your very presence and your terrible, terrible smell, opting to run away instead of attacking you, so you can just waltz in and take whatever you want, even attack your enemies while they try desperately to get some fresh air, all without risk to your personal being. As I said before, this is certainly a very unique mod that may or may not provide you with a fair amount of amusement, and in any event, it's probably this very unique nature that has managed to garner it as our number 2 choice for the mod of the month in October. Moving right along and wrapping things up, for our third and final choice for mod of the month of October, we have Wonderwind by King Moya, aka Truly Original Artcom. Now, we've already covered Wonderwind on the channel before, and it's basically a massive complex of ice caverns beneath Solstheim, where you'll find about half a dozen different types of dungeons, or so, that range from Daedric ruins to Druid towers, sticking out of the ice, and it's a really very unique and well-crafted mod, with some absolutely cool concepts, with massive, almost landmass-sized underground zones, that'll lead you to numerous dungeons stuck in the ice, and even taverns, and if you delve far enough down, a town hidden deep within the ice. Without a doubt, Wonderwind has some really cool designs and ideas going for it, and at some point in the future it'll also be improved with a handful of quests, but even without that though, you'll find a lot to like in this mod, and it's definitely worth trying out, though it is also extremely difficult. Given that it is primarily a master dungeon mod, you can expect to find battles that'll probably take level 30 characters or beyond to get through. But regardless, Wonderwind's cool ice-like aesthetics, with towns buried in ice and large glacier caverns, are probably the key reason why it won our third pick for Mod of the Month, and why it managed to hold its own in a slugfest with 4 other mods during the online voting period. The combination of crystals, Nordic and Imperial architecture, with the occasional pine trees, make for some really amazing looking environments that are just really creative and fun to explore. And King Moyo has also taken a fair amount of detail into mind when crafting the various interiors of Wonderwind, with about half a dozen shops that are all extremely unique in appearance, with vendors that offer a wide range of services and possibly a few overpowered items as well, but since you have to fight through hordes of enemies just to get down to this buried ice town, it sort of balances itself out in the end. All in all, Wonderwind is just a cool mod that's worth checking out if you enjoy dungeon delving or exploring, or just really like Solstheim and the icy environments it contains. Anyway, that's all we have for the best mods of October, and there were a ton of mods that didn't make it into this video obviously, and we'll be covering those one day on Morrowind modding showcases. But for now, these 3 mods are definitely worth your time and consideration to check out, and do please stop by our online poll for the best mods of November and cast your vote for your favourite mod. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in a few weeks with another list of amazing mods for your viewing pleasure.